Right, so today's video is going to be a May lawn care guide, talking about the do's and the don'ts this month when it comes to all things lawns. However, a bit of a disclaimer before we start, as we usually do in these videos. If you are a lawn expert, let's say you've been in the industry now for 30, 40 years, or you think you know everything about lawn care, this video might not be for you. However, if you are someone who's new to lawn care, maybe you just bought a new house and you're just getting into lawn care for the first time, or whether you've been managing your lawn now for quite a while and you just want a few extra helpful tips, then stick around and you might just get a few of them. So let's get into it. I want to start off with the elephant in the room, which is seed. I've been banging on over the past few months on this channel about May being the best time to chuck seed down onto your lawn, whether that's establishing a new lawn from scratch or whether that's repairing some patches that you might have. And now is certainly the best time for it. And the reason for that is the fact that temperatures are much more consistent. And it's not really the temperatures in the day, they're certainly going to help. It's more the temperatures overnight. Throughout the day, the sun heats up that soil, and then overnight, when that soil's resting, it's starting to cool. The colder it is overnight, the more heat's going to be lost by the soil. Whereas in May, the likelihood of a frost is very minimal. I mean, it's not impossible. There could be frosts in May, but it's much less likely this month compared to in March and April. It just means that the soil isn't going to lose as much of that heat, and you're going to have a much higher rate of germination, but faster too. Some people that put seed in the lawns sort of like early April, and we've had a fairly decent April this year, and they've had some good germination. Whereas if you seed now, you're going to get much faster and stronger results. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do this month, which is one of the most important things, is to get on and feed your lawn. Now, I'm getting onto my lawns this year with TruGrass. It's what I used last year in the back garden, and it's going to be what I'm using at the front as well. And the reason why I'm going with this is the fact that, one, it's an organic fertilizer, but it contains all those things you need. It says on the pack here, it has, humic acid, amino acids, seaweed, and some people pretend they know what all those things mean. Basically, it's just boss for the microbial activity that's taking place in your soil. It's really healthy for the plant. It's a little bit like, when you've got flowers like this, or when you've got shrubs, what you tend to do year on year is put compost down, and the compost is full of all that good bacteria, those good nutrients. It feeds the soil, it feeds the plant. This is more of a soil conditioner. By feeding the soil, you're feeding the plants, and you're going to end up with a much nicer plant, a much stronger sward that's going to give you a lovely dense area throughout the summer. Other feeds are absolutely fine as well. You can get them from loads of different companies. Often they come and they're quite chalky, and that chalky stuff can sort of knock around in your lawn for a while. It won't with this, which is ideal. Make sure you're not over applying, because you can take a lawn from looking pale to looking a nice dark colour of green, but if you put too much feed down, you go into like the ugly phase where almost like your lawn starts to turn purple. And just to mention, this isn't a sponsor, there's no affiliate links. I don't benefit if you pick up TruGrass, but I've used it for the past 12 months, and personally, I just think it works, and I think it's boss. But it's not the only feed I'm going to be putting down onto the lawn this May. I'm also going to be getting on with a liquid feed too. The liquid I'm using is called Integral Max, and it contains, all the things like nitrogen and carbohydrates and blah, 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 all the waffle that feed contains. But the main aim of that liquid is to actually green up your lawn. I have Ben Fescue lawns in the back, and I'm establishing a Ben Fescue lawn out at the front, and it is a slightly lighter shade of green compared to ryegrass. But if you get on with something like Integral, then it's going to darken that plant a little bit more. And there's going to be a video coming out on this channel possibly within the next week where I apply the liquid, and you'll see the before and after. And just for reference, this lawn behind me here, this had the Integral Max on exactly a week ago, and I don't think anyone can argue really with the colour of it. Bear in mind, it's shady, it's a little bit overcast at the moment, the sun's not quite come over yet. If you're just getting close to it, it's looking absolutely boss. If I can get a lawn like this in a space like this, anyone can get a lawn anywhere. Now, feeding your lawn coincides with cutting your lawn, because any feed you put down, whether it be TruGrass and other brands, whether you're getting on with a liquid that's going to encourage some growth, you're going to be causing, like I've just said there, your grass to grow quite a lot. And cutting your lawn isn't like a weekly thing or a 2 times a week thing. It's as and when your lawn needs it. You need to be coming out, looking at the grass and deciding, has it grown today? You can pick yourself up a grass gauge, but you can put it on the grass and see how much has grown if you want to be really specific about it. But really, you've just got to react to your space. if you put a feed down and you water it in, then expect over the next week or two to have a rapid period of growth. And after those first 2-3 weeks, as that feed starts to sort of slow down within the soil, your grass is going to slow down as well. So you're going to be cutting it possibly a little bit less, which is then telling you maybe after the 4, 5, 6 week mark that you need to get on again with some more feed. And then your mowing's going to increase and it'll slowly start to decrease, then it'll increase again. And that's kind of the pattern you're going to be going with. The key with mowing your lawn, and this goes for any time of year, not just May, don't be getting on and hacking it to absolute death and cutting it right down to, you know, the very base of the plant and scalping it, because the grass blade is a store of energy. And yeah, in the summertime and months like May, when we have quite a lot of sun and that grass is photosynthesizing all over the shop, because the sun is really the best source of food for your grass plants, it can recover more than what it can if you scalp it in sort of the late autumn or through the winter or early spring. But you don't want to be scalping it. There's no point in putting it under too much stress, because you never know when a heat wave is around the corner, and if you put your grass under a lot of stress now, it's going to really struggle. Look at him just in the flower bed there, just being an absolute menace. Now that leads on nicely to talk about weeds, and really the best way to reduce the amount of weeds or to stop getting weeds in your lawn is by having a really dense sward. Again, show you the space up at the top, you won't see a single weed, and it's because the plant is super duper dense. You know, there's only really that side where we could possibly get weeds because of how thin it is, and even down here you can see we've got a really nice dense sward now. The likelihood of it being invaded by weeds is relatively small. However, if you do, then do not fear, because May is a really good time to get on with a product like Weedol. And really, May is probably the first month of a series of really great months to use this product, because it's most effective when the weeds are actively growing, and because the grass is growing well and everything in the garden's growing well, that means that the weeds are too. So by putting this down, it's going to be really effective at dealing with those tricky spaces. And I would advise that if you've only got a few weeds, then getting a spray bottle like this is best, because you don't really want to be spreading weed killer all over your lawn. But if you've got quite a few, you might need to get a knapsack sprayer, get it in the concentrated form, mix it up, whack it down, and give it a few weeks. They're not going to disappear overnight. It is going to take some time, so be patient, but it certainly will work. But just make sure it does say on the bottle, kills weeds, not lawns. Just make sure you pick up the right one. I'm also using this year too, which was sent to us by the Lawn Association. Again, not a sponsor, but it's a record keeping manual, and the aim is that you sort of keep track of everything you do. So they sent it to us about 2 months ago, give or take, and this was it from March. Basically, you put in like what the condition of your lawn's like, whether it's poor, it's good, and so on. You know, how often do you mow the lawn, how often do you feed the lawn, and do you pick power out of it? All these sort of bits and bobs. I've made loads of notes on this one because there's been quite a lot happening. You know, I've got the robot, you can see him over there. Well, I've got Freddie following. I got the robot this month, so you can see where there's an R, that's how often sort of the robot's being cut on the lawn. I put a feed, I put an I because that's integral, that's the liquid feed. But I think what's probably going to be quite useful about this is not so much this year, but for next year, to compare sort of what was the condition of the lawn like, and what did they do at certain times, and did it have an impact? And if I make a mistake this year, which I certainly did towards the back end of last year, then I can look at where the mistakes have been made and adjust the plan for next year to make sure I don't make those mistakes again. Completely non-essential, but if you're into lawn care and tracking it, then it's definitely worth a shot. I use this YouTube channel kind of to track what I've done at certain times. You can go back and look at what to do last year or the year before, but if you've not got a channel, then this might be quite useful. And the last thing you want to be considering, particularly in May this year, is getting out and watering your lawn and making sure you're watering it in the right way. We've had quite a dry spring this year, and you know, soils are quite hard at the moment. The way you really want to be getting on and watering your lawn is less often, but putting more down when you do. You're talking once a week or twice a week if you go through a particularly warm spell. You want to avoid watering your lawn every single day, because you're going to then encourage more disease. You've got to remember that disease thrives in a moist environment, hence why we often get disease in our lawns in the winter because of the moisture, and in the summer when we get quite a lot of rainfall, and really humid, overcast days. And you can cause that yourself by putting too much water down. You want to avoid watering too lightly too. Don't just be getting the grass blades wet, that's doing absolutely nothing. If you've got an established lawn, leave your sprinkler on for 15-20 minutes. You don't need to put tuna cans all over the place. You don't need to buy those little cups from Amazon to check. Just leave it on for 15-20 minutes. You'll be absolutely fine. It'll do a job. And then you can leave it then for the next, 5, 6, 7 days, depending on what the weather's like, and get on again and do the same process. However, if we've got at least one fairly decent rainfall within the week, then your grass shouldn't need water. Use the eye test, look at it yourself. You'll know if your lawn's starting to struggle. If you cut your lawn and it lays flat and doesn't bounce back up, that's a sign of stress that you need to get on and put a little bit more water down. If you start to see it looking a little bit grey, a little bit silvery, again, it's a telltale sign that you need to get on, water your lawn, add some more moisture into that soil, because by putting a lot of water down infrequently, it's going to enable it to soak right down into the soil, and the roots can go searching for it, particularly when the top surface starts to dry. Deeper down, the roots can then find moisture. If you do have a newly seeded space like this, then don't get on with a sprinkler and soak it to absolute death. All you're going to want to do with a space like this is almost the opposite of what I've just said to do in the back, and that's to water it little and often. So at the moment I'm getting on around about 3 times a day, just lightly wetting the top surface, getting those seeds to stay as moist as possible for as long as possible, and that way we're going to increase the chance of getting germination. Once we do have germination, then we can start pulling back on the amount of times that we water the lawn, but then water a little bit more heavily, because like I've just said, you want those roots to start searching for it. Whereas these little cool calf fellas over here, all these seeds, none of them have roots at the moment. So if I water the lawn for 5-10 minutes, what am I achieving? What am I watering? It makes no sense. So there we go, that is the May lawn care guide. It's not complicated. It doesn't include 50,000 products. It includes 3 maximum, 2 that feed the lawn, 1 that removes weeds, because this is your aim, this is what you're after. You want your lawn to look nice and green, you want it to look uniform, one consistent colour, you want it to be weed free, and it really isn't difficult. The more you do to your lawn, the more complicated you make this process, and lawn care is simple, plants are simple. So if you want to follow along with more lawn tips that help you to get a fairly decent lawn like the one I'm sat in front of now, then consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. We're on a crusade this year to keep lawn care as simple as possible. We're going to break through all the jargon, we're going to do the basics right, and we're going to be getting some absolutely boss results by doing so. So yeah, subscribe if you haven't, like the video if you've enjoyed it, or at least find it useful in any sort of way. The Instagram is in the description below, and I do have a TikTok. It is Novice Gardener Official. I post clips from these videos, post like YouTube shorts, sort of chatting videos about different bits of waffle. So yeah, finally, thanks for watching.